time, you're going to learn and acquire more vocabulary. However, there are 12 verbs that we use over and over and over in daily life situations. In this video, I'm going to teach you what those verbs are, and I'm going to give you examples of how we use them in real life situations. So let's start. The first verb that you need to master is ser, which means to be. As you probably already know, ser is great for first introductions. Soy Daniela, soy mexicana, soy maestra. In a daily life situation, we are going to use ser to identify people or places. For example, ella es mi hermana. Ah, nice to meet you. You can also use ser to describe places. Ese restaurante no es muy bueno. That restaurant is not very good. Don't go there. You can also use this verb to express the place or the date where something is taking place. For example, las citas son a las 9. The appointments are at 9. The next verb you want to learn is estar, which also happens to mean to be. Subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be uploading a video focusing on explaining the difference between ser and estar. As I was saying, you're going to use estar in daily situations to talk about location, to say where a person or an object is. For example, los niños están en la escuela. The kids are at school. You're also going to use this verb to express emotions, physical, emotional, and mental conditions. For example, estamos cansados, we're tired. As your Spanish progresses, this verb also is useful to build progressive tenses. For example, estoy estudiando. I'm studying. The next verb is tener, to have. You probably know this, but in Spanish we use tener to say our age. That's a very basic use, but let's be real. You're not going to be saying your age everywhere you go. However, you are going to use tener to express possession or to express obligation. For example, hoy tengo que trabajar. Today I have to work. Check that to do this meaning, you have to use the structure tener que plus infinitive. As I was saying, you can also use this verb in daily life to talk about your possessions or to talk about things people have. For example, ¿tiene cambio de 100? Do you have change for 100 pesos? So let me give you this cool tip so you can sound more natural. You can also use tener with this phrase, tener ganas de, to talk about activities you feel like doing. For example, tengo ganas de comer. I feel like eating. Well, I always feel like eating. Or you can also say, tengo ganas de helado, the specific thing you want. I'm craving ice cream. Check this example over here too. You can say tendrá, the future form of tener, to sound more polite when you're asking someone if they have something. ¿Tendrá cambio de 500? That sounds way more polite. The next verb you want to incorporate to your vocabulary is querer. And querer means to want. You can use this verb for two basic uses. The first one, to express affection towards something. For example, or someone, sorry. For example, Miriam nos quiere mucho. Miriam loves us very much. Isn't she sweet? You can also use querer, like in English, to express the things you want. For example, quiero unas papas con chile. I want some chips with salt. Ay, se me hace agua la boca. My mouth is watering just thinking about my chips. The next example, ¿quieres ir al cine? Do you want to go to the movies? You can use querer to ask people if they want to do something with you. Ir is another verb you need to incorporate in your vocabulary. Ir is going to help you express direction, the places where you're heading to. For example, ¿a dónde fuiste? Where did you go and why you didn't take me with you? Or you can also use it to talk about the future, to express the plans or intentions you want to accomplish. For example, Juan va a comprar un carro. Juan is going to buy a car. The next verb is dar, to give, and many people know the first use of that, which means we're going to use it to talk or express that we're giving something to someone. For example, le di un vaso de agua. I gave him a glass of water just because I felt generous. The second use, not many people know it, but it's so basic and it's so crucial to sound natural. We can actually use that with an emotion to express that something else is causing that feeling or reaction on us. For example, me dan miedo los gatos. Cats scare me. You can replace the word miedo over here with tristeza, sadness, gusto, happiness, or pena. Me da pena hablar en frente de las personas. Speaking with other people makes me feel embarrassed. So the next verb you want to learn is poder. In Spanish, poder means can. Oops, I made a mistake here. Sorry, me equivoqué. Poder also means to be able to do something. So as you can imagine, we use this verb to talk about the things that we can or we can't do. For example, ay, no puedo ir. Ay, I can't go. That's my excuse for all weekends. The next example, ¿me puedes decir dónde está el metro? Can you tell me where the metro is? Poder is great in daily life situations to ask people for instructions or to ask them for a favor. As a tip, podrías, the conditional form, is used to sound more polite. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe now because I'm going to be uploading a video where I teach you how to sound more polite in Spanish. The next verb is haber, and haber can mean to have or to be. We use this verb for two basic things. Number one, to express existence, to list the things that are or are not in a place. For example, ya no hay más postre. There is no more dessert. What happened? You can also use it to form compound tenses, the perfect tenses. No hemos terminado la peli. We haven't finished the movie. As a tip, I want you to remember that I is an impersonal form. When we're using haber to talk about existence, we're using the impersonal form I, which means that you're going to use that single form for singular or plural things. The next verb is decir, to tell. In Spanish, we use decir to say what other people is saying or ask someone to repeat themselves. ¿Qué dijiste? What did you say? Laura dice que no sabe. Laura says that she doesn't know. As you can see, decir can also be translated as to say. The next verb is saber. And saber means to know. But ojo, don't confuse it with conocer. In this video, you can check the difference between saber and conocer. In Spanish, saber refers to the skills that a person has, the things that people know how to do, or the facts or information people know. For example, no sé dónde está el museo. I don't know where the museo is. Sorry. Juan sabe cocinar muy bien. Juan knows how to cook very well. The third example, ¿sabes si hay leche? Do you know if there is more milk? As you can see, I'm actually using I again. I told you these verbs are super useful in daily life situations. The next verb is hacer. And hacer means to do or to make. We use it, as you can imagine, to talk about the things people do. For example, ellas hacen mucho ejercicio. They exercise a lot. But we also use this verb to describe the weather. Hoy hizo mucho frío. Today was very cold. When using hacer to talk about the weather, you have to use the third person singular conjugation, hace. Over here you have hace. And hace doesn't change. It's going to stay that way. Hace can also be used to talk about time. For example, la conocí hace muchos años. I met her many years ago. The last verb you want to learn is llevar. Llevar means to take, but, ojo, es un comodín. It's a wild card. It has so many useful applications in Spanish, such as describing the ingredients on a dish, expressing duration, and so many cool things. Let me give you some examples. Lleva tus cosas a tu cuarto. Take your things to your room. ¿Cuánto tiempo llevas estudiando español? How long have you been studying Spanish? Llevar is so powerful. You cannot imagine how powerful this verb is. I'm actually going to leave you a video over here so you can learn the different applications of llevar. So that's it for today, guys. These 12 verbs are going to help you sound more natural, and the great news is that you can use them in a lot of contexts and situations. Your challenge for this lesson is to create sentences using these verbs, and please leave them in the comments so I can give you feedback if you need it. Before I finish this video, I want to remind you that you can check this same lesson on my Spanish immersion channel in case you want to start practicing your listening and comprehension. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you liked the video, and if you did, it would really help me if you can hit the like button. I hope to see you soon. Adios!